Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology and welcome into Record-ology live here on Sunday, January 22nd, 2023. But a hearty and wholesome welcome to you whenever and wherever you are watching. Just thought we would hang out for a little bit this evening, enjoy some time together as we prepare, at least as I prepare to go into the week. It's going to be a busy one. It was one of those Fridays where it was just not. It was like a Monday on a Friday, and did you say booking? Yeah, that's funny. Um, it was crazy on Friday. Very stressed coming out of the week, and had a great weekend though so far. Although it was pretty safe to say the weekend was good. It's a 5:14 in the Mile High City on Sunday evening. So I think that we are ready to have a live, and that'll be good. So Kyle, welcome in. Old Radio's welcome. That's funny. Booking.yeah. Not a sponsor, but if you want to be a sponsor, contact me. I'd be happy to consider it. So what are y'all up to? What's going on? Smash the thumbs up on the way in the door. That would be great. You may be wondering, why does this look so different? Because usually you are live streaming from your office, which I am not right now. I am not live streaming from the office. I'm live streaming from another part of the house just because, like I said, it was a long week. It's going to be another long week coming up there. And I spent a lot of time sitting in that chair in that office. And it is the most comfortable place to work, in my opinion. Like I've tried working. Like I always have these ideas like, oh yeah, I'm going to work maybe on the front porch or the back patio, or maybe I'll work in the living room or whatever. Maybe I'll work at the bar or in the kitchen or whatever. But inevitably, it's always the most cozy place to work is my office. So I am here, not in my office today because I'm forcing myself to change it up. So sorry for the boring background there. As you can see, sort of the cracks there. We got the sun is setting. It's still dark early into the day this time of year. So yeah, bought a few records from eBay. Tell me all about it, man. Can't wait to see what you got there. Sorry, I got a message there. Kind of threw me. Greetings from Iowa. Yes, welcome in. Kyle says, I wanted to tell you I got an RCA Victor Deluxe 345 record player for $20 at an antique store. That's a really good price for an antique store. That really, really is. Sorry. Yeah, silly messages. So what else are you guys up to? Tell me about the records you found. I've got a few bits of insider knowledge I wanted to share with the insider folks who join these lives. And yeah, greetings from between Colorado and Iowa. All right, sounds good. Welcome in. I picked up a couple of records this weekend. Went to an antique mall, one that I go to from time to time, and it's a good one. It's a really good one. If you guys are in the Colorado area and you've heard of the Brass Armadillo, it's over in Arvada, and it's a cool indoor antique mall, and I found some great things. And today, or I should say yesterday, went by there and found a couple of interesting records. So I'll be showing those to you in the new year. What am I saying? In the next few minutes in the show. Sorry, I'm still kind of all flustered from the silly message I just got. Mr. Londell's Groovy Movie says, greetings and felicitations. Hip, hip, hooray. Tally ho. And right back to you, sir. Thank you very much. Old Radio's picked up Kim Fowley, the Hellers, Curtis Mayfield, Rhett Law in the house. Thank you for being here. New Oddities record, Talking Rolls Royces. Kyle says, thanks, I've always wanted an RCA Victor 45. So you got one of the changes. That's awesome. They are cool looking. They really, really are. I ended up with two of them. One works because the person that gave it to me fixed it. The other one doesn't because I tried to fix it. So, yeah, they're cool though. They are really cool. They're just like a watch, it's like a dual turntable. It's a changer, and there's no electronics in it. There's no electronics. It's purely mechanical, electromechanical. It's amazing. Old Radio says Brass Armadillo is where I get a lot of my phonographs from cylinders. I have seen cylinders at this one. I don't know if it's a chain, so maybe there's other ones. Another one. Jeremy's in the house. Thank you for modding tonight, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's interesting. Brass armadillo. I've seen boxes of cylinders. It was the first and only time I've really interacted with a cylinder. I took a picture, I think, and posted it. I've gone live from there before. They actually have Wi-Fi, which is good. Oh, it is a chain. Okay, so we have one of them, I guess. But man, they are like totally packed to the rafters. So it is a blast, especially the section with the glass cases. Although if you need to find somebody to, to open a case, it's kind of annoying. But but it was fun. It was good. They had like a little cafe in there and stuff. They're like baking cinnamon rolls. We went on Saturday morning. It was really cool. Mr. Londell says, haven't purchased any new vinyl yet, but I'll be comparing cartridges sometime this week. That's cool. Always, kind of going like this with cartridges. I've been talking this past week to Grado, my representative at Grado, and really wanting to get my hands on a cartridge, specifically a 78 RPM compliant cartridge stylus combo. And didn't make a deal for that, but we are going to be reviewing, again, insider knowledge here for the people on the inside. The Grado GW100 Bluetooth headphones that came out with a couple of years ago, they're absolutely fantastic. In fact, just the other night or last night, I was showing my wife and my son this song that sounded just amazing on them. And those are the first gen with the 4.2 Bluetooth. They're not even full res. They're not even lossless. So the new ones will be lossless. The battery life is increased and things of that nature. So we'll be reviewing those in the next week or two. That'll be cool. But I would love to do more cartridges. I really would. I still haven't bought a cartridge for the Pioneer yet to play 78s. I was trying to find the most cost-effective way to get a 78 cartridge, and I have a wonderful one. It is the Grado OM78, and unfortunately, the stylus, that's the one that I used. It sounds like I did on purpose. I used my fingernails, what I was going to say, but I accidentally flicked off the cantilever, stylus and all. And the cartridge or the stylus replacement on that is pricey. It's like $100. So that's out of range for what I want to spend on that. So what I'll probably be doing is getting just a 78 wide groove 3mm stylus for an AT3600. That seems to be it's like $24. It's the cheapest way to do have a 78 compliant cartridge. Now I know that won't be mono. That would be ideal. The OM78 is mono, but it'll still at least get the full information in the groove. It should sound good. So that's, and like I said in my video, by the way, thank you guys for watching that. Video is doing very well. I'm humbled by that. Glad it did. It was a fun one. I was really looking forward to it. I love it when you anticipate a fun, like this video is going to be great, looking forward to it all week, and then it bombs and you're like, really? Or in this case, it does really well. So very thankful for that. But that was one of the main reasons why I got the Pioneer, was I really wanted to play 78s on it. So I need that cartridge. Michael, welcome in. Anybody else that said hi and I haven't responded, I apologize. Chris, welcome in. Just replaced my Grado Prestige Gold 2. Got fed up with the Grado hum. Interesting. So I've got the Grado Gold Prestige 2. I haven't noticed a hum. So what's your setup, and how do you think it manifested itself? And did you have it from like day one? My Grado, the only gripe I've got with the Grado is they're so darn tall. But as you saw with the Pioneer, it's got a VTA issue by design where it's kind of doesn't have the appropriate, the gimbal's too high in the back. So it's perfect for a nice tall cartridge. Then you can go up like 6 millimeters on top of that with the adjustable VTA adjustment. Old radio, same with that Audio Technica stylus. I enlisted in the antique army. Tell me about old radios. What do you mean same with the Audio Technica cartridge? A hum? Do you still have the 2M78? Oh, it's a 2M, not OM. So yeah, the 2M78. I have it. This stylus is busted. Mr. Londell, so far Ortofon 2M Blue is my favorite. Going to see how the Grado Black 3 and Audio Technica VM95C stack up against it. So the VM95E is surprisingly warm. Let me see if I've had the VM95C. Let me see. Audio Technica VM95C. Okay, yeah, I think that's the one that was coming. Did I have that one? Yeah, that's like a $40 cartridge. That's a good one. I had that, I think, or maybe I had the green version, which I'm not sure what that is. But if you look up VM95E, no, I didn't. That was not the one. I keep misquoting that. So the Audio Technica, I think, LP120X that I had the VM95E. But what is the one? 95. I'm always saying VM95E, and I think I'm saying it wrong. Okay, so what is this? AT95E. Okay, so is that more than the VM? This is the one I have. Yeah, what's it called? This one with like the sloped front. AT95E. I think that's what it is. So the AT95E, interesting. It's more expensive. It's like a $60 cartridge. I didn't know that. I thought that was cheaper than the VM. So the AT95E, $59.95 on this website I just pulled up. Tech Play. I don't know. Not a sponsor. That sounds really warm. It has that warmth, kind of like a Grado does. But you might want to try that. So look up AT95E, and I love that cartridge. It's great. I've held on to it while others have gone bye-bye because it's just a great cartridge. Let's check out the comment feed. But yeah, I haven't had a hum with my Gold 2. The Grado Black, the Grado Blue, all of them sound great. And the Grado Blue, Black, and Gold all sound extremely similar. So if you're in the Prestige line, which is their, I guess it's considered their entry-level line, they sound fantastic. They absolutely sound. I love that warmth. I'm more of a warm fan than I am the super accurate kind of cold sounding Ortophon sound. When I was talking to the Grado guy, I asked him about their 7.8. They have a Prestige, a special 78 special or something, but they've discontinued it. And I'm like, dang it, you guys! Why'd you do that? That was something I really need right now, but they've discontinued it, so they don't have a 78 cartridge. I would say start with a Grado Black, Mr. Londell, because it sounds so very. Unless you have an ear where you can hear minute differences, I don't. They say if you blindfolded me, I probably couldn't tell which was which. And we did a show comparing the Grados, so check that out. We did all the Prestiges. We did the gold, black, and blue. There's a green too. I don't think we've reviewed the green. Very, very similar. Music Junkie AES, welcome in. Chris Nunya, welcome in. Kyle says, found another Singer record player. Cool. And thank you, Kyle, for doing that. That was crazy. Oh, man, that was such a kind gift. I can't believe you're the first and only person. No, it's not. I was going to say the only person that's given me a record player. I have received one or two others, but just so the thought of somebody actually doing that is crazy. So thank you very much for that. Retlaw, can't find anything about another new find. Maybe you can help. Single called Trees, Clifton's Cafeteria. I don't know about that. Single-sided Trees, Clifton's Cafeteria. Huh. I don't know. When I think of Trees, there's a rapper, a CHH rapper, called No Big Dill, NOBGDYL or something like that. He's got a song Trees. It's pretty good if you like hip hop. That's what I think of instantly. And yes, it does reference the kind of trees that you're thinking, but in a surprising way. Music Junkie AES, ATVM95EN, or more fun. That's cool. That's a good one. Old radios that broke up the stylus by accidentally bumping into a mat. Oh, man. I've done so many dumb things with my computer. Decided to plug it. It's like done charging. I'm going to unplug myself. So there goes the. This is amazing how small computer power supplies are nowadays. Like that is the entirety of my laptop power supply. Usually there's like this big UPS power brick, and not anymore, which I'm glad for. But it's kind of awkward how this thing never doesn't sit in the outlet tight, so it always falls out. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, break dumb things with styli and stuff. I've many times dropped my stylus on a spinning platter mat, like a felt one, always feels like you're gonna just yoink the stylus off. Never had it really do any damage, but I've done everything dumb. Everything dumb. The cafeteria, but not the record. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know about that, Redlaw. That's interesting. Once you hear nude versus bonded, you'll never go back to nude. So nude would be the higher end ones. I'm guessing you mean the bonded. You would never go back to bonded. And I get the premise. The bonded is a tip of diamond versus the entire shank being a solid diamond, which is the only difference between the VM OM 2M red, 2M blue. Same cartridge body. The stylus is the only difference. So I guess one of the hacks that people do is they get the cheaper $100 red and then buy the replacement stylus for the blue. And then you've essentially got a blue for a cheaper price. I haven't verified if that is cheaper, but yeah. Music junkies. Nude sound much better than mine. I haven't experienced it. I don't think I've ever, because I think even the fanciest, the highest end cartridge I have ever reviewed. And again, I'm an entry level channel, so give me some slack. But the highest, fanciest cartridge I've ever reviewed was the Grado 2M Blue. It's like I think it's like a $260 cartridge, which for me, that's a very expensive cartridge. But it's part of the Prestige line. And Prestige, it's the highest end of their low end is what it is. It's the Prestige is their entry level. Plastic bodies, et cetera, et cetera. But they're good. I think they're moving Pomeroy or moving iron cartridges, similar to moving magnetic. And so I've never reviewed like a $1,500 cartridge or one of those wooden body cartridges and stuff. I would love to try something like that. So yeah, I don't think I've ever reviewed a cartridge or even heard a cartridge with a nude of the hundreds and hundreds of turntables. On the other hand, I've probably reviewed 300 Skywin turntable mechanisms. But that's just, if I hadn't done a channel like this on this low end, there would probably be 5 turntable reviews instead of 305. I do like the warmth of vinyl. Absolutely. Speaking of that, my video that I did, it was over a year ago now, that was comparing CDs to, I said CDs are better, prove me wrong. It's gotten a lot of attention lately. Get comments on it all day, every day, which is surprising. People, you're an idiot, or thank you for confirming what I always knew, or you made some errors in there, which is very possible. Chris says, I believe it's because the cartridge design is moving iron, picks up the EMI from the motor, put an Ortofon 2M Blue. So the Ortofon will definitely sound less warm, but a lot of people love the Ortofon sound. The 2M Blue is very popular. I've had a 2M Red, but I've never had the blue, so I've never had the nude version of it. Music Junkie says, I'm glad that you're still making videos. I got scared that you weren't going to publish no more. Oh, no, I am. Absolutely. We've done a few videos since the new year. We're doing weekly videos now. One main weekly video, which, by the way, it was a bit of an experiment. I haven't published that infrequently in years. We've done everything from daily shows to 3 a week to 2 a week. And what I've been doing this month so far, it's the 22nd, or I should say since Christmas, so just about a month now, is a 1 week show. And then I do shorts throughout the week. Just as I'm doing something that I think might be interesting, I shoot a short and then I upload it on TikTok as well. I have like a longer limit over on TikTok. I think I can do up to 9 minutes over there, whereas I have to keep things at 60 seconds on YouTube for the shorts. So what I'll do sometimes is I'll shoot like 4 minutes of something and then edit it down, 2 versions, a short version for YouTube and then a longer version for TikTok. I tried putting up some 78s. I got a few of them up, but I was getting content, not just content ID matches, but I got like TikTok will do this thing, like if they don't like the music you're using, they will just block the audio. They'll be like, guess what? Your audio's off. And I was like, okay. So I'll delete the video because there's no point in having it up there. And of all the irony of it all is that the Disney record, the one that I thought I did an old 78 soundtrack record to Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, didn't get dinged, which is weird because usually anything Disney, it gets dinged. So it doesn't matter if it's 1937, which this was. It just gets dinged first and foremost. Yes, thumbs up, everybody. Appreciate it. Chris says, do you use tower speakers in your 2-channel stereo setup? If so, what do you use or recommend? I do not. So I'm fairly space concerned too. But I'm space confined in my office. I don't have an infinite amount of space in there. So what I do is I use desktop speakers. So they're bookshelf speakers, and I've stacked 2 pairs on top of each other to kind of give like a desktop tower. So they're maybe 2 feet tall between combined. Robert, welcome in. Old radios, this Bolex camera is finally getting fixed. I'm sending to the repairman. That's awesome. Never had any fancy carts. Of all the cartridges I've heard, there's just such a minimal difference. Like you're talking about, even when I always say the warmth of a Grado versus the colder sound of an Ortophone. There, I said it right this time. Or the neutral sound of an Audio Technica or a Shure. There's so minimal. There's such minimal differences. And there's so many variables. Your speakers, the turntable, the music you're playing, the alignment, the quality of the record, the recording. You know what I mean? There's so many variables. Kyle says, I enjoy going into antique stores, thrift stores, and record stores, or any place to get records. I do too. I wish that GPX GE cartridge. I wish to use that GPX GE cartridge. I don't know if I've seen that already. Hey, Nicholas, welcome in. Oops. Dang it. Okay, copied the wrong thing. I always like to see what you guys are talking about, so sometimes I'll just kind of Google search in parallel. GPX stylus by LP Gear. Okay, so it's like a stylus for. Okay, so is it the little plastic stylus for the suitcase ones? I don't think I've ever heard one of those. It kind of looks like the gray one that they spec out on Electrohome specs out, kind of a gray color one, but I'm not sure if that's really it. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. RPX 040. Okay, let me look that up. I was looking up the wrong one. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Interesting. Yeah, I've never seen that before. Music Junkies says, really dig your fondness for kids records. You ever going to do a video about Tutti Camerata? I have no idea what that is. Interesting. Like a composer. Huh. Rice cooker, I thought I would dip in. I was Block Z Gamer. Rice cooker, welcome in. Nicholas Hopkins. I have GI Blues. I have that album. It's a really beat up cover, but that is a fantastic album. I love the Elvis 60s soundtracks. So Blue Hawaii, Fun in Acapulco, GI Blues. Those are probably the top 3 for me. So check those out. I come across them every once in a while. It's funny, people that don't know anything about records that are selling them, usually the people at like antique stores, see Elvis and they think, oh, this has got to be worth 30, 40 bucks. And just because it's Elvis, you may think that. There's probably a time when I did too. But, an Elvis record shouldn't cost any more than any other record, really. I paid for like a 10, like depending on what it is, anywhere from like $8 to $15 in average condition or something like that, unless it's in fantastic condition. Also, from a collecting standpoint, although I don't like the music of this phase as much, Moody Blue, his last album, released during, I think it was actually released right after. Was it released during his lifetime or nearly thereafter? Was pressed on blue vinyl, and I have an original copy. It looks like a repress because it's so vibrant, it's so beautiful that you may say, oh, this must be a repress, some novelty thing from Target or Walmart, but it's not. It literally was pressed that way. And what's ironic about it is usually the color variant is the rare record, but in this case, the color variant is the baseline. If you want the rare version of Moody Blue, it's the black one. It's kind of interesting. So welcome in, Nicholas, and good luck in your search. Life, CDs are definitely better. Anyone who says vinyl is better is saying something I don't want to repeat. But I will say that I take the message that you are sharing to heart, and CDs are arguably better. I love CDs myself. Retlaw, are you going to do homebrew ultrasonic machines? I have one, works wonderfully. You make it. I would, if I came across one, I would think about doing it for sure, because I want to try it. And I've got this Patsy Cline record with what seems to be permanently fused fingerprints on it. It's a rare record. It's a Decca black and silver label pressing. The Patsy Cline debut album, and it's a rare one. And I paid a decent amount of money for it when I got it. The fingerprints I thought would wipe off or come off with the spin clean, just didn't really come off at all. And somebody told me that sometimes if the fingerprints have been left on the vinyl for years and years and years, they can become corrosive. And maybe that it's actual damage that I'm seeing in the pattern of what was once fingerprints. So I've always wondered, if an ultrasonic cleaner would do it. But I've seen a lot of videos too where ultrasonic cleaners don't do anything. I mean, it's just basically vibrating water in a vacuum if you've got a good one. But at the same time, I would absolutely like to try it. Sure, absolutely. Apparently, CDs are making some sort of comeback, but I don't know if it'll become like the vinyl revival or like the cassette comeback, which was dead in the water. Yeah, the cassette thing seems to have fizzled out. It's very niche market-wise. And I think the problem with cassettes is, well, it's interesting. It's kind of like vinyl in that if you go buy a new cassette player that you would see in a place where you would discover cassettes in a cassette player, which would be places like at the mall, at Urban Outfitters or something like that, the kind of cassette players that they sell these days don't sound that good. They're usually mono. They're just cheaper. They don't sound like a good quality pre-2000 cassette deck. And I think maybe the sound quality turns some people off because their phone would sound better than a lot of those tape players. There's motor noise, there's pitch issues, there's wow and flutter, there's speed issues. What pitch issues are for speed issues, and all this stuff. And maybe they get turned off by it. But that's what people say about people getting into records too. They get a suitcase player and it doesn't sound as good, and they dump it and they're like, forget it. The vinyl sounds like crap because my suitcase player, Crosley Cruiser, sounds like crap. Early generations one specifically. So maybe that's happening, but I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe just another real expensive. You want like that Stranger Things cassette? It's like at $25 and up used. So it's expensive. I don't like sitting on a stool for a long period of time. Let's see. But yeah, CDs are, there's an abundance of them. CDs are dirt cheap used. If you like, the top 40 kind of music, you can go find those for $1 each. If you're trying to find more obscure stuff, you're still going to pay $6, $7, $8, $10, maybe up to $15 for something, especially if it's new. But yeah, if you want like just top 40 music, on my mouse, there's a rice grain underneath like a dehydrated rice grain under my mouse. It was like teetering. Yeah, they sound clean, and they've always been accused of sounding cold and not warm at all. But there's so much of it, and what people do, have said in the comments of that video is it is so subjective, and it is. All of this is. All music is. We don't know what you're hearing versus what I'm hearing. So what I hear is warm, you may hear is cold, or what I hear is warm may sound distorted or hummy or whatever. And they're cheap, and that's a great argument for CDs. Is they're cheap, and you can get a player for cheap. So your investment to get pretty dang good sounding audio is so much lower than vinyl. So much lower. To get the same quality of vinyl audio, it would cost hundreds of dollars, whereas you can get a $6 used CD player at a thrift store and a $1 CD, and for less than $10, you have enough left over for a Taco Bell lunch, and still having fantastic audio that you don't have to pay streaming fees on. That's not compressed. It's full digital spectrum, uncompressed digital sound. There's something to be said for that. Kyle says, my mom bought me the Revolution Go for Christmas. That's amazing. That's a great Christmas gift. That's a fantastic, fantastic turntable. Oh, interesting. Timothy, I'm just reading your message. That's interesting. Music junkie. Wow, Jeremy, thank you, my man. Oh, that's so kind of you. Oh, you didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. Jeremy with the super chat. That's a huge blessing. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. I need to invest towards that. And I'm excited because I want to do more with 78s with you guys. I've got a decent collection of 78s. I want to share that stuff with you. And I want to do more stuff with a wide group. So much of the kids' records and things are 78s. So I want to be able to share more of that. All right, time to get busy here on comments, guys. I am going, wow, I'm really far behind. Holy moly. Oh my goodness. I am so far behind. I didn't realize how far behind I was, you guys. Okay, we're going to fly through the comments here. File-based audio. And it's interesting. I'm interested in both. I really like digital files. I like to get a big collection of like old radio shows and load them onto a thumb drive and be able to listen to it on like a portable. I like both. I like that collecting and portability aspect of digital files, but I also obviously like analog media as well. Yeah, a lot of people think that they're colder sounding CDs. And with CDs, because they're 2-channel, CDs are only 2-channel. Even if you have a mono CD, it's 2 channels of mono. But with mono or with 2 channels, you can do Dolby Pro Logic. Dolby Pro Logic. You can't do Dolby Digital or any like Dolby 5 point anything, but you can do Pro Logic. I had some Pro Logic CDs of the Colorado Symphony Orchestra. They're fantastic surround sound. And basically, it's just a single mono rear channel. So your rear speakers are playing the same thing. And then you've got stereo and then a center channel. So it's 4, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 channels audio. Rice Cooker says, I'm going to my Boston acoustic speakers fixed. That would be cool. So you sound fuller, but vinyl sounds warmer. Nicholas says, hey, Record-ology, I have an AT60. Is that a good record? LP60? Yeah, that's fantastic. Kyle says, my 3 favorite record players of Victrola Revolution Go, Audio Technica. Thank you for recommending it. Absolutely. And my RCA Victor. That's great. That's awesome. Oh, the comments are coming in fast. Thank you guys so much for being here, by the way, and commenting. I appreciate it. Wow, 40 people, 43 people. What? If you just came in here, welcome. I'm trying to get caught up on comments. Ask anything you want. And then I've got a couple records to show you, and I want to tell you kind of what's going on behind the scenes right now. Love the Concorde Club Mark II. I would love to see that too. I've got the Concorde DJ. That's the only Concorde I have. Although I'm kind of bummed because everybody's telling me that the overhang is not right on the Pioneer for using a Concorde, which is a bummer. I enjoyed records ever since my childhood, born 1964, and I still do now in my adult years. I miss my old record changer, but I have a decent manual turntable set. That's good, Rachel. Welcome in. GPX styling. I thought I was ceramic. Jacob says there are ceramic cartridges, but not ceramic styli. Yeah, a lot of people get confused with that. Ceramic is inside the cartridge, not the stylus. I always imagine ceramic. You think of like a chip of pottery scratching its way through the records, but no, it's basically a ceramic rod that when you bend it, it's a transducer. Well, all cartridges are. So it basically takes the mechanical bending of the rod and turns it into electrical impulses. PLX 1000 with a Concorde Club. So you can fit it on a PLX 1000, but I think that has a different tone arm than the 500. Chris says, I remember back in the early 80s CDs being 2 or 3 times the price of vinyl. Now it's in reverse. Absolutely. Music Junkie AS says, 2D Camarada ran Disneyland Records for most. Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's so cool. Well, I've got a lot of his stuff then. Mark Covington in the house. Welcome in. Yeah, GI Blues. You ever had one of them days, boys? You ever had one of them days? That's a good song. I love that. I don't know why Elvis didn't like his movie music. He thought it was cheesy, and other people agreed too. Dual sitting. That is a good song. Jacob says a good percentage of people who are buying records are not going to be buying Elvis Presley albums. Yeah, there are people out there, obviously, that don't want anything that's not top 40. But at the same time, if you go to Walmart, if you go to Target, you'll find Elvis Presley. In fact, at Barnes & Noble, at Second and Charles, they had a few exclusive pressings of the Elvis Christmas album this year. I don't think they're exclusive to this year. I think they came out in the last year or two, but they're like on white vinyl and red vinyl, and there's different versions of things. So I think it's out there. But if you go to I'll tell you a place where it has very limited selection is if you go buy a record at a Best Buy, they have like 15 records, and it's in a cardboard shelf display unit. And I just know they come prepackaged. They probably peel the label off, stick the entire shelf loaded with records on there, and that's it's like a preset thing. So there's a very limited selection. Rachel says, I have Elvis Blue Hawaii on vinyl. I paid $35 about 8 or 9 years ago. It's an awesome condition too. That's great. Mine was a cheapo one, but it's in cheapo condition. Music Junkie AS has existence and could be considered the first. Sure what you're talking about there. Sorry. Nicholas says, I found that the Target brand records are really good. They sound super clean. That's awesome. Old Radio says, Beatles records are the same unless it's butcher cover, should not be over 50. Oh, in terms of it being expensive because it's Beatles. Jacob says, a lot more vinyl collectors are buying Beatles albums than Elvis albums. However, both artists sold in the millions. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think Elvis was only surpassed by Michael Jackson. Or maybe it was all 3 of those guys. Michael Jackson, Elvis, and the Beatles, I think, are the top 3 album sellers of all time, if I'm right. Jacob says, every record store you've ever gone to has people coming in constantly thinking their Beatles records are worth hundreds. Oh, yeah. Well, it's the Beatles. They're famous. Mark Covington, so glad you're here, man. Yeah, I'm doing good this evening. How are you, sir? Finally got up to Jeremy's super chat. Thank you again, Jeremy. That's how far back I was. Music Junkie says cassettes are for Vaporwave. Oh, yeah, and I've heard about that for Vaporwave. Chris says, how's that Pioneer treating you? You're sick of it yet and ready to part with it? Dirt cheap? I love it. It's great. It's not perfect, but it's good. It's really, really good. I still think I would take it over an AT 120X, LP 120X USB. I think so. They're just so neck and neck. But it is cool. And you don't see the Pioneers pop up that much. I have an old JVC tape deck. Wouldn't have it if it wasn't given it. It's got a lot. I got rid of lots of tapes in the last 2 years. Interesting. Rice Cooker says, I think I'm going to enjoy some nice cassettes on my Quadriflex PCD 338. Oh, 388. I'm going to look this up. I don't know what you're talking about. Is this like a quad tape deck? This sounds, anything with the word quad in it sounds very wood grain and 70s to me, which is a good thing. Let's check it out. Ooh. No, this looks early 80s. That's a beast. That's cool. No, I like it. That's cool. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, 70. Jeremy, I just now saw you put 75 stylus. Hey, if I find one of those too, that works. No, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. That was just huge. You guys are so nice and kind. Cassettes can sound wonderful. Absolutely. My Yamaha thing make your tape sound amazing. Absolutely. Depends on how you put your levels on your receiver if you play CDs. Yeah, and that's the thing with CDs. If you think they're cool, cold sounding, then just play them with some EQ. You know what I mean? Holy moly, I'm flipping really far back again. Depends on how you put your levels on. Homemade cassettes make a great deck sounding better than anything. Professionally duplicated in a factory, unlike other formats. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, old radios, get a good deck. Late 80s, late 90s, Sony, Panasonic, Yamaha, TX, something you've heard of. Mark Covington with a super chat, man. Thank you so much. How is my vinyl collecting coming along? Well, because of that very generous super chat, got 2 so far that I've seen. Thank you for those. Those are crazy. You guys don't have to do that, but I love it. I am going to stop the comments for a minute and show you what records I picked up. Trying to be, my dad always says this when he's collecting stuff. He's like, I'm trying to be very specific and not just collect stuff that I don't really need or want. So I am trying to be the same way. I'm not just trying to accumulate. I remember when I was very much just getting started in record collecting, if I even semi-remotely would like it, I would just get it, because I was trying to build a collection. But now it's like, do I want to make room for this? Do I want to dedicate space in my house for this? So I feel like I'm a little more selective. All that to say, I'm quoting my dad. Speaking of my dad, I picked this up. This was one of the 2 records I got yesterday. I think I paid $2.50, $3 for it. This is from 1950. Little Golden Records. We'll look at the record itself in a minute. The reason why I picked this up, and I love Christmas, and yes, I listen to Christmas music today. But even that said, it's still kind of hard to get in the Christmas mood this early in the year. I mean, it's only been less than a month since Christmas, but I have to be on the lookout for stuff that I know I'm going to be super thankful for having and wanting during the Christmas season, and for sharing with you guys. This is one of those records. This is something not to pass up, because this book, this Little Golden Book, Santa's Toy Shop, is my dad's all-time favorite, happiest moment of his life, kind of very, very intrinsically positive in his life book. And we've got multiple copies in the house, and you will hear the story of how important this was to him if you ever meet him. So when I saw that, I didn't even know there was a Little Golden Record version. I'm like, I have to get this. So sure enough, did so, and it is a cool Golden Record. I love when Golden Records were really golden. Why not, right? This is sort of it's a vinyl type of material, probably vinylite or something similar. So it is not shellac. It is 78 RPM. It is a 6-inch record, 6-inch 78 RPM record. And it's in remarkably good condition. Hard to see on a compressed video stream like that, but it is in good condition. You can see the flip side there as well. So yeah, but it's the story being read. And what's cool about these, well, there's a lot that's cool, but if you look down in the corner there, what does that say? Mitch Miller and Orchestra. That's right, the same Mitch Miller. And what's even more interesting, 29 cents, by the way, considering the price hasn't gone through that much of it. I mean, it's $2.50 versus 29 cents, considering that this was 50, 60, 74 years ago, 73 years old record. That's not too much of a price hike. But what's interesting about this, okay, I discovered this just yesterday. So if you look on the back, I don't know if you can read this, but it says produced by the Sandpiper Press. Does that name ring a bell? The Sandpiper Press. Well, it rang a bell for me. I'm like, wait a minute. The vocal group on here is the Sandpipers. I thought that was so cool. Mitch Miller and the Sandpipers. Sandpiper Press. Coincidence? I think not. Easily entertained, perhaps, yes, but so I didn't even listen to this record yet. I've already gotten, at least $2.50, $3 worth of entertainment about it. Okay, that's cool. And on the back we got the typical, you bought this record, but don't worry about that. Let's talk about the next record you're gonna buy. So this is a treasure. I'm gonna put it back in its little protective case. It's actually got a little plastic sleeve, although it doesn't quite fit good enough for now. The next thing I bought is interesting. So what I'm going to do is I had never seen this before. I did not know what it was or why it was the way it was. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try and get caught up on comments here. And I'm going to show you this record. And the first person that can tell me what this record is and why it is the way it is, I'm going to give a free 45 adapter to, if you're in the United States. We have the 45 adapters, the custom 45 adapters. And not only that, I'm giving you the not for sale yet exclusive sort of, it was going to be a Christmas exclusive. We decided not to do it for that. It is a kind of a candy apple, green and reddish color, exclusive, not for sale version of the official Record-ology 45 adapter. And the thumbnail to this video is the record. So stay tuned. I'm going to show it to you in detail. And the first person in the chat that can tell me, once I say time to go here, what is this record all about, who gets it right, will win a 45 adapter. You got to live in the United States, got to be over 18. But besides that, we can do it. We get caught up on comments. Jacob says, but getting good quality blanks and a good quality deck and having it restored does require more upkeep than just CDs and a CD player. Agreed. Rice Cooker enjoys some nice John Lennon cassettes right now. That's awesome. Timothy says cassette tapes have their issues, as absolutely. And the issues will show up from day one. My grandfather purchased one, which was a Qualitape from Arista, and it was anything but the tape had metal scrape sound. It was anything but Qualitape. You know what? If I hear Qualitape, to me, that actually sounds cheap. Tone Master is the ultimate cheap tape that I grew up with. The kind of cassettes that you buy in a bag. Good tapes are, and this, if you saw the video where we went to the, what was it? It was the flea market, Mile High Flea Market a few months ago. And I found a box full of metal and chrome tape. They were dirty. Like they were like literally coated in dust, but I bought a handful for like $1 each, and still going through those. You get chrome tapes, metal tapes, and a deck that can actually record on those because they take more juice, signal strength, I should say. Then you can have yourself some fantastic sound. Absolutely. But, I primarily use just ferric oxide tapes, and they can sound fantastic. Got to have a good deck with a steady speed, and you've got to have, a good speaker system, good amplification, and you'd be surprised. Portable cassette tapes is just always going to sound small. I mean, portable cassette tape players, unless you have a Walkman, but Walkmans are getting to the point now where you really can expect to have to replace capacitors at a minimum at this point now, because they're getting older. Even ones from the late 90s, keep saying late 80s, late 90s on the Walkmans they're just wearing out. And so you're going to have to spend to get a Sony Walkman working for the most part. Yeah, that is what it is. But if you get a component deck, you can spend $7, $10, $15 for a good one like I've done and have absolutely pretty much pristine sounding cassettes. Marcus and Elvis Productions, how can I become a part of the Record-ology group? You already are because you're here. Absolutely. If you want to support the channel, super chats are always welcome. And thanks on the, there's a way you can give thanks, which is a contribution on videos. And then we also sell the exclusive RCA 45 adapters. If you look in the description below, you guys, there's a link to the two kind. They're limited. They're probably going to roll off production February-ish. So if you want the signature orange or the limited edition metallic purple color, get them now. Get them quick. Buy soon and buy often, because those will be going away in the near future for something bigger and better. Hopefully, we'll see. But yeah, I appreciate that. But no, you're part of the group already because you're here. You don't have to buy anything. You can just be here, and we're thankful for that. Old radio's got a Philips CD burner, early 2000s, but they use funky CDRs. Oh yeah, I remember those Philips burners. What's better than cassette tape? Reel-to-reel 7.5 or 15 inches per second? Well, the faster the better. So if you got a deck that can do 15 IPS, that's studio grade right there. Some earlier studio decks even did 30 IPS, but when it comes to analog media, the faster it moves, whether it's a faster record spinning, faster tape, transporting, whatever, is the higher quality sound. Kayla Marie, welcome in. You didn't miss anything yet. We're showing off some records and talking about whatever you guys want to talk about, all that fun stuff. Nicholas says, is it true that all the young kids are bringing records back into style? That's the word on the street. Hold on a second, guys. That is the word on the street. Records are hip once again. And it's been that way for a few years now. It really, really has. What's your favorite vinyl pressing plant or CD manufacturer? I don't know enough about them to be able to tell one from the other. But I would be fascinated to learn more about that level of detail. I've seen before with some records, it says made by Capitol when it's not a Capitol release. And I think that's interesting. So that's really, really interesting. The one I know most about is what's all over YouTube with the 78s, the Camden factory for RCA, making shellac records. I've got those. I put those in a playlist somewhere on the channel years ago, showing how those are made. It's really interesting to me. Never been into buying new pressings of old albums from Walmart or Target. Oh, you should try it though, man, because they've got very cool versions. Kyle says, I got Led Zeppelin yesterday for 50 cents on 45. That's cool. What about mastering engineers? Again, I don't know enough to know about them. Mile High said, I mean, I've heard a few names here and there, like the Patsy Cline thing I got from Vinyl. What was that thing called? Not Vinyl Moon. Vinyl Me Please last June, their exclusive country music track album on the tricolor vinyl. My dad still talks about that. Hey, you still got that one with the 4 colors on there? And it's a beautiful record, and that was mastered by a well-known engineer. What I'm really curious, though, is where they got their master tape from, because that album, master tape, was destroyed in the 2008 fire, as almost all of those masters were. But let's not go there again. Miles High says, I'm obsessed with Elvis. I have every LP and EP, plus most 45s and a ton of movie posters and lobby cards. You know you're into something when you collect the lobby cards. That's really cool. Started collecting Elvis Japanese releases. That's awesome. That is really cool. Old Radio says, I'd rather get a used original pressing much cheaper. You know, somebody told me something or brought up a topic a couple of years ago I thought was really, really interesting. Sorry. Tumbling with the webcam. There we go. So somebody brought up something really interesting lately. They said, or it was a couple of years ago, they said, if you have a new pressing of an album and that pressing is made from a metal part, or some kind of pressing material, that whether it's the metal parts, the stampers, whatever, that has been around for 70 years, would not the original pressings from like 45 years ago be made from a better master material? Like, wouldn't the master, the stamp or whatever, be higher quality when it was newer versus now? And that's an interesting thought. Very interesting thought. Mark Covington, hey, Record-ology, did you see the super chat? Yeah, I did, man. Thank you so very much. Sorry for the delay on comments, guys. I'm always behind on them. What's the highest quality turntable you've ever owned? Quality or price? The highest price turntable was the LP7 from Audio-Technica. That was $800. But if you took the price tags off, and I didn't know what they cost, by the way, that's a bird cheaping. It's not a smoke detector battery going bad. Some people are like, gosh, you're a moron. You need to fix your battery alarm and your alarm battery because it's going off. It's actually the bird who mastered the pitch of the security system beep, and now he is the security system. So the security system will beep, and then he will also beep, and he will also beep when he thinks that the security system isn't beeping enough. Where was I going with that? I don't know. Sorry. Okay. Highest quality turntables. Oh yeah. So basically, gosh, the Fluence RT85s and even the RT80 that we reviewed both feel super high quality. I like that they just have a good feel to them. The audio, all the handpin stuff I like, all the way from the Crosley C100 feels quality. People are going to laugh. Some people laughed at the AT LP7. They're like, oh, okay, imagine paying $800 for an Audio Technica. Project, I've reviewed 2 turntables from Project now. Unimpressed on both of them for what they were. I know the newer one we reviewed was really made by Dual. That being said, both turntables from Project, I was unimpressed with. Duals, built like a tank, just not my thing. Don't like that kind of a turntable. The BSRs feel pretty cheap. What am I talking about? Quality turntables. Surprised. Brand name just doesn't mean as much as it used to. That thing we reviewed from One by One, which is this brand we never heard of 10 years ago, makes or sells, because nobody makes anything. They sell a fantastic that like cherry wood finished turntable. That thing is absolutely gorgeous, high quality, built like a tank. But there's always compromises on some. Even the best turntables I've ever experimented with. Well, there's little plastic things, even a Technics Mark II, whatever SL 1200, you could nitpick and find elements on there. Everybody's gonna say something. That's nothing like my VPI and all this stuff. And if your platter isn't 8 inches thick, then it's junk. It's so subjective. But from a cost standpoint, LP7. Mr. Londell says, I think your best value for used vinyl media would be half-price books. There's not one in my area. I've been to one. I went to the one in Branson earlier, and it was unimpressive to me because they had hardly anything but books. I love books, but I was looking for vinyl. Retlaw says it's just too many issues with new vinyl. Olrio says he used to go there a lot during the early 2010s. Music Junkie AES says, hey, you rock. Love your channel. Got to bounce. Peace. Thank you. You're probably gone by now because I'm late on these comments, but thank you so much, my friend, for being there. Jody Smith says, the Goodwill and Salvation Army now where I live are sending all the records that they get to their online websites and charging obscene prices. This is really interesting, Jody. And the reason why I say that is because of the fact sorry. Somebody I know loves to tease me when I'm doing lives by trying to throw me off by sending me texts, which I love. Anyway, so I've noticed that there's just, in fact, I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, there's just nothing new at thrift stores, period. And I've systematically tested the process before. I have not so much with records, because I usually am acquiring records, not donating them. But electronics, we reciprocate. We donate a lot to Goodwill and places like that. So what I've done before is donate something that's very noticeable and recognizable to Goodwill, and then see if it shows up on the shelf and how long that takes. Usually it takes about a week. I know there's a lot of stuff in the back room there that they sort out, but I'm convinced that 90% of what you donate at least doesn't hit the shelf of that store. Now, it's no huge surprise that they spread it out. There's probably like movie sets where they're like, I need 4 cubic feet of compact discs. I need 2 cubic feet of vinyl records. And I need, at least, 4 shelves full of electronics. And in there will be mixed the sewing machines, toasters, and alarm clocks, unfortunately. You're walking up and you're like, what is there anything good? I can't quite tell. Is that a reel-to-reel or a sewing machine? It's happened to me before. I've lifted the lid on many of items that I'm not sure. Is this a sewing machine or is this a reel-to-reel? Or a slide film projector or what? But all that to say this, I've noticed that there's just so few things on the shelf anymore, especially records. There is a Salvation Army that's a ways away, but we go there every once in a while, and they've had the same records pretty much for 2 years now. And they've got a lot. They've got probably 500 records, but it's the same records that they've ever had that I can tell. Jacob says, I have a Sansui QR500 quadraphonic receiver. That's awesome. Frank says, I went to a thrift store today, and this one guy was way overpriced. He wanted $48 for spring. What, a thrift store? That's crazy. Usually thrift stores don't know anything about what they have, so they just price them all for the same price. Although Goodwill is starting to really get greedy with the prices at $3.50 for some Goodwill records. So when Tim Allen on here goes live, or he does his vinyl thrift store reviews, and he gets these 24-cent records, I'm like, what kind of a thrift? I want that thrift store in my life. Yeah, thumbs up, guys, if you wouldn't mind. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for everybody being in here. I wasn't sure who wanted to go live today. I was surprised at how many people wanted to be on here. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And Jeremy, thank you so much for being my hype man. Appreciate it. Rice Cooker says, I think cassettes are nice, but it's impossible to find an old one as it suffers from some kind of rot. And I think a lot of it has to do with your climate. We're very arid and dry here, very dry. So we don't have the rot as much, especially with CDs. It's very, very rare. Jacob says, we're getting an Akai Quad reel-to-reel. Ooh, that's cool. Next couple of weeks. That's awesome. Oldest home recorded cassette tape I found is from 71. That's really interesting. What was on there? Jacob, I found one from 68 or 69. That's probably the ones that say music cassette on it. I have a couple of those. I've got a cassette deck that I've had on the show before that predates the word cassette. So it says tape cartridge player. Commercially recorded people's recordings. Tony, welcome from Finland. Welcome in, Tony. What do you think about an LP 140 XP? I would love to get my hands on one. My Rapid Audio Technica is being very, very chintzy with the demo units right now. So I haven't gotten anything from Audio Technica. And have you heard the sound? This is confirmation of what Techmoan predicted when he reviewed the Soundburger, is that the Soundburger is coming back as a regular production item. So you want some dough? Do you want some insider knowledge on? You better fork up the dough for that. Let me tell you that it is going to be pricey, but it's going to be cool. LP 140 XP. I would love to get my hands on one of those. That is kind of LP 140s are kind of what the LP 120s used to be. The first gen, so they get the VTA adjustment, metal 45 adapter, things of that nature. I would love to get my hands on one of those. I think I have a few golden records. One is red. Yep. I love vinyl, but I really love tape. I've grown to really appreciate tape too. When I left tape in the dust years ago, I never thought I'd look back, but sure enough, I used to have over 1,000 records or 8,000 tapes. That's crazy. I have recordings from the 50s and 60s on reel-to-reel. Yeah, absolutely. I got recordings from the 1940s, and I stayed in Wire. I've been tempted to go into Wire. I just can't. It's fascinating. There's a shop that I go to that had, I think they've sold it, a big box full of Wire recordings. Do you like flip backs on record sleeves? Flip backs? Is that the little tip-on sleeve thing? I'm not sure what that is. Tell me about it. I have at least 300 pounds of reel-to-reel tape. Wow. You know it's a lot when you measure it in pounds. There was this band that I found on a reel-to-reel tape. I bought a box full of reel-to-reel tape at same place I got those metal cassettes. And the band was called Slippery Salmon. I was like, what? Slippery Salmon? What the heck? Strange band name. Not a fan of the ones where it's someone's record collection. I love old voice. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get a bunch of rock and roll on reel to reel. I want to get exactly something historic. Miles High, the local Value Village has cassettes for 99 cents each. A lot of country, not a lot of rock. That's good. Miles High, make sure you check the pressure pads. Yeah, but they don't fail as much as the pressure pads on an 8-track. That's for sure. Love the old radio shows like The Shadow. Yes, I love those. Especially that's how I used to listen to old time radio. Sorry guys, I need to stand up again. When I first discovered old time radio, I used to check out cassette tapes of old time radio from the library, and I remember checking out those tapes and just listening to them a few times. They didn't sound that great, but it was such a novelty for me to listen to old time radio back then, because in the 80s you couldn't just pull up an app on your phone and stream every old time radio show ever made. That wasn't a thing back then. I have some vinyl records with radio shows on them too. Maureen says, I have a JVC Law 100 from 79. Just put a new cartridge and belt. Sounds fun. Have you ever looked at the JVC record players as far as vintage? Also have an all-in-one sound design from 82. I have not. JVC LA 100. Maureen, let me look. JVC. I like the JVC brand. My first bookshelf stereo system was from JVC when I was a teenager. It was a floor model. I bought it from like Montgomery Ward's or something. Interesting. Okay. I'm looking at it right now. It looks cool. It looks great. Interesting how it has that back wall. I don't know what you should call it, but like the back of the unit kind of goes up. It's not just flat on the back. My Technics SLB5 has that as well. It's an interesting design. At first I was like, why do they do this? But I think it's cool. I don't know what function it serves, but it's interesting. Kyle says, I love Elvis. The Elvis movie was pretty good. I have it. Somebody gave it to me on Blu-ray, and I haven't watched it yet. I've been given a couple of movies lately that I haven't had a chance to watch. So you guys want to know a secret? So one of the things that some of my friends and family love to do is to feed me words to say in the lives. So if you ever hear me say something very random and like, what did you just say? It's probably because they're challenging me to say that. If you guys want to take a vote of what some of those words are, please feel free to enter it in the comments. I'm not going to say what they are. I am not going to tell you what those I don't know what you call those silly words are. Just try to spice it up. I'm impressed they even want to watch. Okay, let's see here. And there was another band in that tape lot called the Barnacles, which I thought was interesting. Timothy says, I may not be able to use that 45 adapter with the BSR changer. There's a point on the spindle that makes it difficult for placing it down below. Interesting. I'm sorry about that, Timothy. I actually I tested on 3 different units that have 3 different spindle sizes. I would recommend this. If you have like a circular file or even some sandpaper rolled up, just kind of, the PLA, you can sand it off very easily. So just make the hole a little bigger. So I apologize for that. We test with 3 common size spindles, and there are different sizes of spindles, including static ones and spinning ones. And to make sure that it fits. So if yours doesn't, just try to sand it a little bit. Apologies for that. Old radios. My phone died. No. Kevin says, I love your new Pioneer 500 you got, considering one for myself. I do like it. I really wish they wouldn't have messed up the VTA. Like, what were you thinking? But once I put on the thick platter mat, the problem was resolved. So it tracks perfectly now. The motor is super, super quick to come up to speed. Like I said in the video, like 1 second spin up time. You guys are so weird. Oh my gosh. They're in another room feeding me weird things to slip into this. Again, vote for what you think are the weird words. But yeah, the 500 is cool. I really love it. It's a beautiful turn. You know, I sought it out. I knew what I wanted, and I waited for one to come available. And I paid a pretty good price for it, $300. Again, it's $369 new. I paid $300 for this one, and fantastic. I would love to review the Pioneer 500, the PLX 5, the PLX 1000, which would still be less than the LP7 that we reviewed, but it's a lot of money. Mr. Londell says they have to remake stampers after so many pressings. So I would think a stamper from back in the day wouldn't work so well today. Okay, so for the newer pressings, they've made new stampers, and usually they're mastered from digital, as we've learned recently. Even some of the analog pressings that we believe to be analog were really not that way. Steve says, I added 4 wonderful Rick Wakeman records to my collection today. That's awesome. Awesome. Jacob says, I have the King Arthur album. That's cool. There's a $450 RT85 on Mercari right now with Ortofon. Yeah, I wish mine had the Ortofon. Mine came with the MP110, and I'm kind of disappointed in the cartridge for what it was. I mean, it's an okay sounding $100 cartridge, very similar to like the Grado Black, but it's not up to what I've been told the Ortofon 2M Blue is, which is what it replaced. So I was kind of bummed about that. $450. This is a $500 record player, and so $450. If the shipping is free, that might be a good deal. I'd probably try to get them closer to $400 on it. I mean, the Rick Wakeman King Arthur album. Oh, awesome! That's cool. I saw a Rick Wakeman album in a store once, but it was really crusty and dusty. Hey, Record-ology, what would you say is your favorite RCA record label on the disc itself? RCA record labels. Favorite RCA label. You know, I love the Living Stereo ones. I think they're very, very cool. Yeah, when I found that album, it was so musty in there. It was crazy. The whole place was just like damp. So you know that's not good for media, right? Miles High. Japanese pressings are so good because they change the stamping master before it starts to degrade the sound. Why would they do that there and nowhere else? That's an interesting thought. Mr. Londell says the RT85 comes with a 2M Blue cartridge and is around 500. I love my RT85 today. Yeah, so I got the RT85N, Mr. Londell, which has the Nagaoka MP110 cartridge. Not as good. I mean, it's okay, but it's not on par with that. Hold on, I'm just kidding. I'm fighting the battle that I'm always losing to get caught up on comments. Are you guys hungry for dinner? I haven't eaten anything. You ever notice that sometimes stuff just randomly sounds good? For some reason, I've got this craving for beans. I love beans. I love beans so much. Not something I would typically just randomly want, but tonight is the night. And I maybe not want to be around me afterwards, but there you go. What evil lurks in the heart of man? The shadow knows. Voiced by? Who voiced the shadow? At least who was the most well-known one for voicing the shadow? Come on, I don't want to be so far behind on the comments. I'm sorry, you guys. Good grief, I'm far behind. Oh, that's cool, Kyle. I'm reading your comment about the different colors. Poet's Dreams, welcome in. B.A. Foley, it's a charity. Rice Cooker says, I have heard good things about the LP 140 and LP 120, but better. Exactly. Jacob, which function on your receiver's quad, the record player or the 8-track player? I know places with the same 10 records for years. Yeah, it's true. Watched a video via Westlife posted sometime back where he added 1 drop of 3-in-1 oil to quiet the motor. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I've done that before. I do that fairly often. I can hear you guys laughing off in the distance. Stop. They're chuckling as they feed me the silly things to say. Stop laughing. Do you ever notice that anybody you know, like people you live with, people you're related to, when they laugh, they make you laugh? That holds true. So I've slipped a few in, guys. If you haven't noticed, I slipped a few in, and I have another one I got to get in, but it's going to take me. I got to calm down. I got to settle in. I've got to bear down and relax. This is a weird one. They're getting weirder. You guys stop giggling. I can hear you. I can literally hear you. Stop. Stop. Literally start. No, absolutely not. All right. I'm gonna get caught up here. I always say that, but I can never do it. Oh, really? You've had warped records at Walmart? That's interesting. Various stuff. Audio, the TV, a phone conversation. Trying to speak Spanish the way I dated the recording. Because I had this one reel-to-reel tape that's got these 2 teenage girls trying to sing pop songs of like 1973 poorly for like 2 hours. Promo for Picasso turning 90. Interesting. It's interesting when you find a clue like that you can use to date it. Got a question. My RCA Victor needs a new cartridge. So Kyle, it happens all the time because those crystal cartridges and those old RCA changers just go bad. They dry up. So what I would recommend is my RJ45, my 45J. My 45J is been retrofitted with a magnetic. It's actually an Audio Technica 3600L on it. So now you have to use a preamp. But the other one that I was trying to work on myself, I put on just a ceramic, like a Chuo Denshi clone ceramic, so you'd have the line level already. So you can do either, but it's very much a pain in the butt. So you have to, I would say, no, like be comfortable with technical, mechanical, tiny, intricate things because it's very, very difficult. Timothy says, how old is the RCA Victor? I'm guessing it's 1949, 1950, 1952. There's no way I can do that, you guys. There's no way. I can't work that into anything. What? That's not. There's nothing I can. Well, nobody on here is even acknowledging this stuff anyway. Yeah, I've never bought anything on the Goodwill website. It's the 3 pieces on the back of a record sleeve that's an extension of the front cover. I don't think I've ever seen that. Well, Kyle, your changes from 55. Interesting. Rachel says, being non-essential, thrift stores were forced to close down in 2020. Maybe this is why they're hiking their prices up. Could be. That also dealing with inflation. Yeah, that's true. Utility bills, food costs today. I've seen these videos of people buying eggs. Eggs and the eggs just $79. It's crazy, man. The prices on stuff. I saw this one that was really insane. It was like this cheese, and it was like a low acidity cheese. And it literally said, in what I imagine to be a Southern accent, milk curds make your heart burn. And I'm like, why? You know what I mean? They're just trying to sell cheese in a very strange. You can buy cheese curds at the store now, which is very strange. I love me a good cheese curd, but I thought that was weird. But yeah, prices on stuff is insane. Is insane. Did you ever see that? Remember that website from back in the day, the Subservient Chicken, where you would type in things? It was like it wouldn't be that exciting today, but there was this website called the Subservient Chicken, and you could tell it to do it. Get up and turn around, do a backflip, and it would do it. And it was cool technology in 2003. That's what I feel like right now. If you don't know why, then go back to the earlier part. Timothy says, it might be tough. Would need to see one. May need a retrofit. Rachel says, if some thrift stores are realizing that certain items are valuable too, we have one here in Sonora, California that devotes area for collectibles. And that's something else too, is that there have been, okay, we're just going to block this person. They've been putting, it's a great question, Rachel. I'm not blocking you, somebody else. But we've been talking thrift stores having like a desk or like a display case with the expensive stuff, but they've gotten rid of them. The ones in my area and there's just other ones on the other side of town I go to. They have a couple thrift stores out there, and they're not close to me, but they also have gotten rid of their display cases. And I was like, why? That was the coolest stuff. I bought some really fancy things out there when I was in that area. Adam, welcome in, man. All right, we're about to do the giveaway. Stand by, guys. Teddy Phillips, AT530EN cartridge. Have you ever tried it? Okay, I got to look it up. The yellow one. I'm not sure. I am not sure. That's a good question. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying something weird, but you're feeding me something crazy to say. Okay. You're back on. I'm going to unblock you because I thought you were just saying something odd, but you were doing it for a good reason. So, okay, you're unblocked. Sorry about that. Have you begun to experiment with tubed phono preamps? Yeah, we reviewed a tube preamp not too long ago. Couple small mom and pop clothing shops downtown had to permanently close after having to shut their doors. That's sad stuff. I noticed that newer pressings of music do not sound as well on vinyl as many of the classics. Nevertheless, it's nice to have them on record. Cool collector's piece. Adam Carrico says Ortophones are nice, but I keep gravitating toward 3600. You just can't beat it. You cannot. No, you should like that one. It's a good one, and there's no reason not to. Victor Scroll era. Interesting. Okay, we're getting down to the wire here. Cartridges on the comments. We should try posting on YouTube of the girls singing the 70s pop songs. Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but I might. Hello from Ulaanbaatar. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, Michael, but welcome in. I found things at yard sales and Goodwill's reasonably priced. Use Discogs. I've been on Discogs for research, but I've never bought one from there. Laughter is contagious. We cannot help it. Chuckling. I'm glad. Bear down. I know. Sorry. That wasn't one of them. Bear down was not one of the Fed lines that I got. Yeah, the prices are crazy in thrift stores. I'm going to lose my place again. What do you think about Parlophone records and EMI? I don't have an opinion. I have heard of them. I've encountered them from time to time, but I don't. EMI is kind of like 80s. Is EMI 80s era? No, I'm thinking of Epic. Disney Lover 2009. Inflation for you. Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately. Records are no longer 50 cents depending. Like, hey, Tim Allen gets them for 24 cents or something ridiculous. Turntable considering a series of Orthophone cartridges. Beans. That's the insider word. Okay, that was one of them. It was a whole phrase, though. It was I love beans. That was one of them. Beans, the magical fruit. You know the rest. Yep, dollar store here and same way 125 or $1.25 now. Yeah, dollar stores are no longer a dollar. The dollar theaters haven't been a dollar for a long time. I never realized that. I used to go to stores and Goodwill and various stores in previous state. I used to find a lot of good things. Not anymore. It's finally hitting Colorado, I guess, because I was finding good stuff for a long time, and it just isn't happening anymore. It is true. You can actually get better deals at a record store sometimes over a Goodwill or especially an antique store. Fantashell, yeah, I know of them too. Good. They make pretty good replacement cartridges. I think my Shure something 44, V44, M44. I think it's M44 has a Fantashell. Fanstel. Am I saying that right? Fanstel has a Fanstel or whatever that is replacement stylus. Dexter64, welcome in. Hello from Helsinki, Finland. Welcome in. Eggs. Was that one of the words? I don't know. 584 is 34, or 534 is the 34th week of 55. Oh, that's interesting. Date code. I'm not good at date codes. Sometimes I think I've got it, and then I'm like, no, that's not even close. Cheese curds. Yes. Why is my battery running low? Man, it wasn't that long ago I unplugged this or it fell out. My battery is already low in my computer. Apparently my battery is fried in this thing. Good grief. Come on, these comments. I love the comments. What I'm complaining about is the fact that it keeps resetting and I have to go find where I was again. Jeepers creepers. I don't want to lose my place. It just jumps all over the place. Keep them coming. I love the comments. Rachel says the flip back lid on record sets like the Reader's Digest albums will have writing on it listing the song titles and the word record one. Yep, I have a bunch of those too. Kyle says I'm working on an experiment. I'm working on a water powered wagon where it runs off water. That's cool. But when I was in television 20 years ago or so, I did a convention of, I guess you would call them preppers, people that were prepping for Y2K. So it might have been more than like 25 years ago. And this one guy had a water powered motor thing that was like, it would power itself. It was very interesting. It had a generator and a alternator that would work together, and somehow used water and it would self power. I did not like the Elvis movie, but real Elvis was okay. Interesting. This is the first negative comment I've heard about the movie. Everybody else has told me it's amazing. I wasn't impressed with. I didn't think the guy looked like Elvis, but everybody says it's amazing. He does such a good job. Love to know the chat turntable setups. Who wants to share? Not sure what that means. Only bought something from Discogs once. Zach says, "Do you think that the ATLP3 on Amazon, for only 20 more than LP60 is worth?" Yes. Holy moly! If you can get an LP3 for as much like only $20 more than an LP60, go for it. LP3 is fantastic. You can replace the cartridge. You can replace the head shell's removable. You can set the tracking force. It's fully automatic. I love that. I still have mine. So definitely. Upgrade from a Victrola, yeah, all day long I would upgrade that. Absolutely. Running fast over time. You can reset the speed though. It's not that difficult. It can be done. There's trim pots underneath it. Rachel says sometimes find good deals when shopping around. Also watch for sales. Sometimes our thrift stores will put on a red, green, or yellow. Yeah, it's true. They put on those tags. Yeah, LP3 all day. Finally got speaker stands. That's cool. I need to get some speaker stands. I live on the East Coast over here. It's been that way for quite some time. No good stuff at Goodwill's. That's terrible. But yes, that bean limerick is a famous one. Just about everyone is familiar with that, as well as Bat Mobile lost its wheel. Gary, welcome in. Aren't you supposed to be in bed, Gary? Thank you for being there. Jose Toledo says estate sales are definitely great. I've been to a couple of estate sales, I believe, but I need to do that more so. And then Joker got away. Jody Smith, Cracker Barrel sells records. Yep, I've got some CDs from there, and I've looked at the records. It's just usually the top 40. Jealous Rock, treat me nice, good stuff. Another great live show. It's a pleasure to have been part of it. Thank you, Retloff, for being here. We're gonna wrap it up here with the final record and a giveaway. So let me get through the last couple comments here. I thought beans were good for the heart if you didn't know. It's true. Speaking of special editions, there's special editions of Walmart and Target are fantastic. That's cool. Yeah, little miniature steam engines are amazing. Mr. Londell's Fluence RT85, Ampapa A1 phono preamp Grado Black 3. That's a good setup. They're independently owned record shops. Which special? Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Here's how this giveaway works. Here is how the giveaway works. I am about to show you a record. This record is odd. It is strange. What? What is this? The chuckling had subsided in the house, so I thought they had given up, but apparently we've got another challenge here. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh yeah, they do have extra tracks and stuff. That is cool. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. I'm going to show you this record. The first person that tells me what this was, what was unique about it, via email, because everybody gets the chats in a different order depending on geographically where you are. I learned the hard way that we can't do this based on the first person to put it in the chat. So don't put it in the chat. If you're watching the replay, it doesn't apply to you anyway because it's for live only. Be in the next live, and you too can do. You can win something. We're going to give away a 45 adapter exclusive red and green one that's not available for sale. Okay, fair enough. And you'll give that for free anywhere in the United States. Must be 18 or older. Can't ship it overseas because it's just too expensive. Or even if I send it to Canada, you have to pay a VAT tax to get it out. It's so annoying. But if you want an exclusive, not available to the public 45 adapter, laughter is the best medicine, Jody. You're right. Be the first person to tell me what's special about this record and why it is the way it is. The email that you need to email your answer to, do not put it in the chat, please. Do not put it in the chat, please. Do not put it in the chat, please. Email your answer to recordology1938@gmail.com. That's recordology1938@gmail.com. Recordology, all one word, 1938-1938@gmail.com. Recordology1938@gmail.com. Please don't put it in the chat. Be the first person to tell me what's special about this record. And I will give you a 45 adapter. Okay, here it is. And it is the record that I had on the thumbnail. So here's what I will tell you. It is orange, kind of darker orange than it looks on camera. Don't put it in the chat. Do not put it in the chat if you know the answer to this. Email, please. Email, please. So nobody gets a free peek. And it's got this weird kind of notch. And I was like, what is the notch for? Because like home recorded records are like are a thing, right? And I was like, okay, so people know. So yeah, if you know it, don't put it, don't say it. Just you can tell me you know it. You can tell me you know it, but if you want to enter, get the free to enter for the free adapter. If you want to enter to win, one person will win a free adapter. Recordology1938@gmail.com. So I thought maybe like a home recorded disc, but it's clearly just ABS plastic. It's molded. You can see the flash molding marks right there. So it's not even, I don't even think it's vinyl. I think it's just ABS plastic. And yeah, it is. I thought maybe it's some kind of toy that had a record inside of it, that's a little bit of a hint, but I did not know anything else about it. Why does it have a stand on it? Or why does it have a clip on it? Or what in the heck is this? Or, you know what I mean? Like, what is this? It's dated 1970. It is dated 1970. Let's see if anybody's got the right answer. Okay. Good guess, Jose. It is not Fisher-Price. It's actually Mattel. That is another hint. It is Mattel 1970. Good guess. What is this? That's a record. And it plays music. I did test it out. I got this at their store too. I didn't even know what it was when I got it. I did some YouTube or some Google searching and quickly discovered what it is. I'm like, oh, interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that. And we will do a show about this. But come on, if you want to win a free adapter, first person to email me with what this is. Let me get it up closer so you can see it. It was part of a set, but it was actually sold individually. You have several of these. Interesting. I never knew they existed until I looked it up. Adam sent an email. Let me see if I got it yet, Adam. Yep, Adam's email came in next. It's Mattel Day and Speak. It is Mattel. I think you meant to put say and speak, but no, I thought it was like a say and speak too. Like you pull a string or the cow goes moo. No, it's not that. This is actually a song. There's 2 songs on here. Here's another hint for you. This song is Sweet Times. This one is Sing My Song, and it says Heather at the top. Heather. Rock Flowers. What? Mattel 1970, Heather, Rock Flowers. It is geared towards girls. That is another hint. Originally geared towards girls, although in this day and age, anybody that was interested in it might find this interesting. I mean, I bought it after all, and I think it's cool. Let's see if we got an entry. Okay, here we go. Timothy is the next one in. I used to have a toy record player that had a spring crank in it. The record locked in place because the tone arm practically covered the. I thought this was some sort of lock as well. That's what that was. It really wasn't, though. Toy record for a toy record player? No, that was my initial thought as well. That was Chris. Good guesses, good guesses. Old Radio says, my mom would have been the target audience for this in 1970. Ask Mr. or Mrs. Record-ology's moms. What do you think, guys? What was this? So let's do some deducing here, okay? I'm actually surprised this didn't get that you guys didn't instantly know this. So we know it's Mattel. What are some of the brands that Mattel is famous for? 1970, Heather, Rock Flowers, very 70s sounding, right? No comments. Stop it. Stop commenting. No, you can't say it now because people haven't got a winner yet. Nobody commenting about it. I want an email. That's probably the number one thing Mattel is known for. Okay, so okay, the winner is Michaela Burke. Michaela Burke wins, and the answer was Barbie dolls. This is a Barbie record. That's right. Mattel Barbie, I mean, that's like one of their number one intellectual properties, one of their number one APs. And this is not a clamp. This is this thing in here. I thought it was like a, like a home recorded record clamp kind of thing. This is actually, you put your Barbie, they sold Barbie dolls. This one would have been with a Heather doll. You put your Heather Barbie doll on top of this, and when you play the record, she spins around and dances. So it's a Barbie record. It was for the. It has Heather singing a rock and roll song. It's a Barbie record. It is 33 1/3 actually, which is kind of interesting. So Michaela, you win the 45 adapter. Thank you so very much for entering. Thank you everybody for not just watching the live, but for playing along, going along with the shenanigans and the little secret words we were throwing in there and stuff. So Michaela, send me another email with your address. So that I can send you out your 45 adapter. I wish I had one to show you, but I will send you an exclusive, not available to the public. And yeah, so send that out soon. And this is the next few days. I just bought another load of padded mailers. And if you guys want a 45 adapter, they are $10.99 US dollars plus shipping, and you can get the signature orange, or you can get the limited edition purple metallic color. If you want to click the link down below, you can also have a 45 adapter. Would be very happy to. How does it sound? It sounds not as good as a vinyl record. It's kind of like a flexi disc quality. It's not terrible. It's scratchy, and you can tell it's ABS and not vinyl, but we'll demo it. I'll either do a short or it'll be part of a video. So thank you everybody who entered. All the good garbage. What? No, it sounds good. It sounds vintage, interesting. It's historical, right? It's interesting. So thank you. Yeah, flexi disc sound, exactly. Thank you guys for entering. If you want to buy your own 45 adapter, down below. It's a cartridge. Not yet. That'd be cool. The Record-ology cartridge. Get your adapter down below. Thank you for being there. Thank you for the super chats. That was crazy. What else do I want to go over? So these are the records. I always forget something. I've done giveaway shows where I've forgotten to give away anything, which is always a bummer. So what? What am I missing? Text it to me. I couldn't. What? Hold on a second. Get a doll that fits on it. So I was, my wife is like, you have to get the doll now. I'm like, I don't want the doll. I really don't want the doll. She's like, no, you have to get the doll for it. I wanted to put on like a 3D printed little figurines. I've printed off some interesting figurines. Nope, you have to get the doll, she says. So I may have to do that. I may have to buy myself. I've bought Barbies before, but they're for my daughter, not for myself. I don't know. But yeah, hey, what the heck? Maybe for the full effect, we'll get a Heather doll. Now that'll be the $300 rare thing. Oh yeah, I was going to tell you about the adapters. They take 2.5 hours to print one at a time. 2.5 hours. They take about 15 minutes to finish. And so it's quite an ordeal to put them together, but it's fun. Everyone's a little unique because they are 3D printed. They are not molded. Working on further designs. We have ownership over another design that was gifted to us. So would like to definitely share that with you as well. What's the other thing that I'm forgetting? I feel like I was told, do the thing, do not forget. Do the thing. I don't know what the thing is. Acrylic mats would be cool. Yeah, that would be awesome. There was a video years ago on YouTube of a guy that took a record from See and Say. Yep, I've thought about doing that too. Yeah, those were records. I can't believe it. So I could take my daughter with me, but I'd have to also bring my granddaughter because my granddaughter is actually the one that would probably be the target audience for this. So maybe that's a good excuse. She would love that. Maybe I'll get that's a good excuse. Maybe. Okay. Cassette Master did it. Yeah, absolutely. You ever had a stereo console? I did not have one, but I do have a console. I have a console stereo. I don't think I've shown it on this show. It's at my mom and dad's house. It's across town. I don't have it. It is a, whatchamacallit? Philco, 1951 or a 1950 Philco, but it's not stereo. It's got a 78 RPM record player. I think it has 33 and 45 too. Radio, it's beautiful. Tube radio on it. And it is mine, and I need to take possession of it. But I haven't done it yet. But yeah, absolutely. We had Record-ology shirts, and we may again in the future. So if you're interested, more people let us know they want stuff like that. We will make them available. Do it. Take your sweet granddaughter when you pick. Okay. I'm going to get a Barbie. Talk me into it. Absolutely. Rhett Law, thank you very much. And in terms of what I'm interested in lately, guys, I am a huge Spock fangirl, as well as all of the captains. Picard or Kirk or Cisco. I love them all. Star Trek, really into it. So I will say goodbye with the Vulcan salute. Thumb out. Thumb out on the Vulcan salute. Live long and prosper, you guys. I love you all. Thank you so much. Happy record hunting. We will see you next time.